Character can start from many places. It can start from concept, from a line of dialogue you may have and you want to know who that dialogue belongs to. Or maybe you write up a character tree and you can see what conflict would test and bring to light the true nature of this character. True character being, as McKee says in Story, Substance, Structure, Style, and the Principles of Screenwriting, true character can only be expressed through choice and dilemma. How the person chooses to act under pressure is who he is. The greater the pressure, the truer and deeper the choice to character. Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Yaku.
And welcome to the third episode of On the Page. This episode will be looking at character through the lens of our short film, Justine Case. You can download the script for the short film in the description below. But if you haven't seen it yet, dude, what are you doing? Go check it out. It's cool. We'll be here. We'll wait for you. All right, now that you're back, let's get into it.
So if you've ever had the problem that your story is too broad or that it's boring or maybe it's just not specific to anything at all, this could be because your world isn't grounded in your characters. If your characters aren't fully realized, it doesn't matter what happens to them, those events will always just feel too coincidental.
There are many ways to go about building your characters, but the way we like to do it is called Character Trees by Film Crit Hulk. We'll put a link in the description to his full explanation. He also has a full screenwriting book called Screenwriting 101. Just a word of advice though, it's kind of Film Crit Hulk's thing to write in all caps because he is Hulk. So I advise the non-all caps version so it doesn't feel like Hulk is screaming at you all the time.
We found that using the character tree allows us to start asking the right questions about who your characters really are, so that you're not filling out endless details unnecessarily. It allows you to build the character from inside out so that you really get a sense for how they would solve problems.
So when we are creating a character, we don't, for example, look at what kind of cereal they like. That detail may seem unnecessary. But if we use the character tree to build the character from the inside out and look at how they solve problems, should the cereal detail become necessary to the story, it will seem obvious because we know the character already. And because it seems obvious, we can then play against that and perhaps juxtapose that detail to create more depth in the character.
We're not going to go into full detail about the character tree. RocketJump Film School already did a great video about that a couple of years ago, so that's linked in the description, so you can check that out. But we are going to just quickly summarize it before we show you how we applied it in Justine Case. So it starts with the feet. These are all the observable details about your character. Groin is what the character wants, but the heart is what it actually needs in order to become a more developed person.
You can already see how flaw and your character's arc might develop from these 2 points on the tree. Pitting your characters' wants versus their needs is perhaps a more organic way to realize your character's flaw. Next, there's the throat, which is how the character presents themselves to other people versus how they are actually perceived by other people.
Moving on to the left cheek and the right cheek, this is sort of the same as the traditional thinking around left brain and right brain. Does your character solve problems more creatively or more practically? And then finally, there is the crown. Who is your character in their entirety? Adding up all the details that you've just addressed, if possible, what is a one-sentence description of who this person is?
We're just going to run down where each element is perhaps most evident in the script. Obviously, a well-developed character will breathe through every section of the script, but we're just going to find certain moments that are perhaps good examples for each branch of this character tree.
You're doing the DVDs? Oh. Where did you put your grandfather's cabinet?
Cool, so here we are on the page. So we start with her feet. Justine, a 19-year-old woman, walks into her semi-empty living room with a box labeled DVDs. We know who she is, we know how old she is, and we know that she's moving into a new apartment. And then moving on to Justine's mother. Justine is on the phone with her mother, 50s, voice like she's been smoking for 30 of those years, short hair, crimson lipstick. So with this we are asking questions about the mother. What does this say about who she is? We're setting up certain expectations.
Alright, so moving on to the groin, or the wants of this character. You can see here that she starts placing the cases one after the other in the cabinet. Many titles are seen as she places them carefully and meticulously, one after the other. A pattern starts emerging, they're alphabetical. So Justine moving into this new apartment and wanting to be neat and organized shows her want to be independent in this new space. Every action that a character takes says something deeper about them.
Listen, Mom, I'm arranging the DVDs and I got up to letter T, but now I'm a little bit confused. Like, with the aviator, does it belong with the T's or is it more aviator, comma, the?
So when Justine is talking to her mum on the phone and asking for advice as to how to arrange the DVDs, listen, Mum, I'm arranging the DVDs and I got to T and I got confused. In her heart, she needs to realize that true independence comes with making your own decisions, not guided by your parents or anyone else. The conflict that arises from this comes from her mum, who doesn't want her children to leave, but she needs to realize that her children will leave the nest eventually.
Just next to the TV? So, the aviator?
So you're going alphabetically? I would do it by genre. It makes more sense.
Yeah, I guess that would be better. Oh, wait. Comedy is C. So I should see it before drama, which is D. Oh, I should put me under F for funny.
Okay, so when we get to the throat, we can sort of see her how she talks to her mom by saying, oh, just next to the TV. So the aviator, she's kind of coming off as a little bit standoffish towards her mother, which is also how a lot of people perceive her, sort of uptight, But then later on, we can see here that she's actually the type of person who would laugh at her own jokes.
Mom, I can't separate the DVDs in this trilogy. It's the Three Colors trilogy.
So if you see here, she starts typing red, then shakes her head and tosses the label maker aside. She starts arranging the DVDs by color: red, orange, yellow, green, blue. And then, later on, she's on the phone with her mom again, saying she can't separate the DVDs in this trilogy. It's the Three Colors trilogy, they have to go together, right? As we can see by now, Justine is more practical than creative in her problem solving. She's almost practical to a fault. She's definitely more left cheek than right cheek. She can't separate the DVDs in this trilogy. It almost seems silly. And this also shows that her decision making is still linked to her mother. She can't seem to make these decisions on her own yet.
And then finally, she picks up any DVD and places it on the shelf. Then another, any other. She doesn't care anymore. All right. So we've summarized Justine as a neurotic young student in desperate need of independence. And that's exactly what The Crown is about. It's a shorthand to describe who your character is. But if you look at the rest of the tree, it adds all the detail and nuance so that if that serial question does come up, we know exactly how to answer it.
Because story is all about character, one good way to find out who a character is by defining who they are not. Is this character conservative? No, they feel really strongly about that, so they are more left-leaning. So we have further described who they are by who they are not. So while writing Mullamula, which you can watch here, Yaku and I were writing a scene, and then we wrote a line of dialogue and Yaku said, No, Chris wouldn't say that. And then it clicked. Chris wouldn't say that. So we discovered that we could learn a lot more about the characters from what they wouldn't do and how that affected the story.
Okay, so that's it for this episode of On the Page talking about character. If you made it to the end of this video and you're not subscribed yet, just consider doing that. Won't cost you anything. And plus, if you press that little bell button, you'll get notified every time we upload a new video, which is every Tuesday and every Friday, with a new short film on the first Friday of every month. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And it's free.
Also, if you have a question, leave it in the comments below. We'll try and answer all of them. So leave us a like, and until next time, stay inside
And make your movie.